Hello, this talk is on Europe, equality and liberty, and why I think the EU brings together those two in a right balance. Now, when I speak about equality and liberty, I'm not necessarily speaking about fairness. Um, Fairness would be an equal and mutual respect for other people. Um, Now, if you had complete liberty to do whatever you wanted to do, okay, and taking the Judeo-Christian idea of human beings as being intrinsically evil because of the first sin and the rest of it, which I don't believe in since I'm an agnostic or atheist, um, then you could have people who would go around, killing people and doing whatever they wanted to do. Um, Robbing, stealing, you know, pillaging, whatever. Okay. Now, of course, we can't avoid the fact from uh, that organised crime and terrorism and other people who've got sort of problems uh, exist. We can't avoid ourselves from that. That is part of reality. Um, now, most people though are good, and most people wish to live in a society which makes them feel good about themselves and that they're helping other people. The more and more I've gone in my life, the more good people I've seen rather than bad. But there is that hardcore element out there that seeks to destroy a civilization. Um, I can't say it any more than that because they believe that their right to do whatever they wish to do is greater than everyone else's. Um, if you take it on to a more sort of philosophical level, um, you could, for instance, read a, a book that's on the nature of power and how to be good even if you have tremendous power. You could have complete liberty to do whatever you wish to do, and that would be Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. Um, that he was a Roman emperor and he was able to have the most power and liberty of any person in history maybe, but yet he continually did good. He was continually self-examining himself and trying to do good. So, for instance, when there was a plot against his life, he spared everyone except the key plotters. When there was a fire in Rome, he gave away his all his furniture to pay for it. To not get off the subject here, but he was somebody who had complete liberty. He could have sexual relations with anybody under any circumstances. He chose not to. He he could have had everyone in the Roman Empire killed if he wished to. His word was law. Yet he didn't do it. He was a good man, and you can see his character displayed in Gladiator, the film. Okay, that's another film that he's in, and also Alec Guinness played him in The Fall of the Roman Empire. Um, so that person really is an example, for the purposes of this video, as somebody who took the idea of liberty and equality. He didn't see himself as any better than anyone else. He knew that he was going to meet some people who were complete savages, but yet he didn't persecute them. He tried to teach them to be good. He was trying to use what he called the logos, which is something that in the Matrix they talk about, the film The Matrix, and this is why I think, as I talked about Jefferson in my previous talks, and his was a drive for liberty, the rights of man, Thomas Paine's rights of man, the pursuit of happiness, the right to life, liberty, and But what if your pursuit of happiness is through your means of getting happiness is through doing evil? There has to be some, if there's not some equality in the law and also some economic equality, then some people, or maybe the majority of people, will never have liberty. In our society, we have more freedom of speech than perhaps many other societies, but yet there are still some things which are taboo to say, and that's why I'm going to be making a video, because of question time on the BNP and immigration and things. Those things are more taboo now to talk about than it was to talk about you know um, the way people had their relationships with each other years ago. When people kept things more within their own circle of friends. But now we're with the EU, for instance. I'm as you can tell, I'm a bit pro EU now. That you're giving more and more economic rights to people, and that it will let them express their liberty much more. But you can't go too far towards equality, because then you get the state invading into people's private lives, like the Stasi did with Berlin, and also trying to seal people off from people who have more liberty, like with the Berlin Wall. There was a program recently on the BBC about how life was in the GDR, which was the communist part of Germany, East Germany, and how people's private lives were invaded and they were spied on by the Stasi and all the rest of it. And of course, to go even further into to the most extreme would be Stalin and Mao, who killed between them like about 120 million people, maybe 200 million people. Nobody knows. There's just so many people, millions and millions of people were murdered by those people. Now that's then links back to my original argument about liberty. If somebody is given so much power, that they're given so much liberty, that then the law and reality starts to get warped, because you can argue, for instance, that Stalin, Mao, and say Hitler didn't actually murder anybody, because the law said that their word was law. But yet, morally speaking, the natural logic and natural law, that someone like Marcus Aurelius understood that if he killed somebody, it was murder. He might not be judged by the gods, by God, wherever you want. He may have believed that gods were invented by the human imagination, but it would be his conscience that stopped him from doing that, because he had self-discipline. Okay, now this all might seem really extreme forms of liberty and equality that I'm talking about, but really this is the crux of the centre of the vortex, which moves all the rest of our lives. We are all interrelated, right? And it's not necessarily down to the fact that we might have purpose in ourselves, but we need something like the EU, which is a way to balance liberty and equality. As soon as you start to get a major hierarchy in a society, it starts to break down. And you can see that where the United States, for instance, at the time, a good film to watch is Raging Bull. You see everyone's got fridges, everyone's got a car, a house, and that's what they're in their little lives, that's what they want. And that's the way we look at Scandinavia now in Britain, I suppose. A very equal society. But you've got to have some liberty and excitement as well, you know. So I think the blending of the sort of Anglo-Saxon and Germanic and German countries, the European countries together, will produce this balance of liberty and equality. Thank you.